All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson of how alone the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And I want to name the video All Nations Hate Israel. All right, all these nations hate Israel, the nation of Israel, which are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians. All right, and Lord Will's brothers can see on the screen, which I'm pretty sure brothers have heard about this and seen this. It happened like a couple of days ago. With this store owner right here, this Chinese man. You know, he's from the definitely from the Asian persuasion, either Moab or Ammon, one of those two, or whatever. He's from one of those two nations, so-called Chinese and so-called Japanese man. And he gunned down. He shot this Judite. You know, for face value, looks like a Judite kid. No, he ain't dude. It was like not a kid. He's really a grown man. He's 14 years old. But um, yeah, he shot this young man, 14-year-old young man, in the back, and he died. All right, and the store owner thought that he stole something from him. He shot him in the back. All right, which shows the level of hate that this was all about hate. You know, they said that he ran out of the store. The young man ran out of the store and off the premises or whatever, not a threat at all. And he just shot him in the back. That's just hate. That's not really. He really wasn't concerned. He just thought it was a free kill. I can knock a nigga off. I can get rid of a nigga. All right. And the Jake kid. Well, now again, I don't know why I keep calling him a kid, but this young man, he probably always comes in the store causing the problem. Because the scripture say, and I'm gonna get that first scripture. I'm gonna get is Job, the book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 7. No man perish being innocent. This young man, he wasn't innocent. Look at him, got a dreads in his head. He probably was a menace in the neighborhood. I seen the other pictures of him. He looked like he was a problem. You know, he probably half took a shit. Who knows? I don't know. All right, but it just shows the level of hate these other nations have for us. But even again, this young man is not innocent. As you see in this, he got dreadlocks. Again, he's probably uh, you know, probably was a menace more than likely. You know how these young jakes are. All right, you all dreads, drugs and all type of other shit. Just with the dreads he's going off. But again, it just shows the level of hate that these nations have for us, man. All right, and that's why the Lord is going to put all you nations, starting with the so-called white man, to the Chinese, Japanese, Hamites, the Japhetic nations, Ishmael. I mean Japhet, Slovakia. You Hawaiians, Aborigines, and whatever, Filipinos. Uh, Ishmael, Ammon, um, Elam. All of you are going into slavery under the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians. All right, all of you. And Jake, you gotta wake up and realize who your enemy is. The top enemy, of course, being the so-called white man. But all these nations are your enemies, man. Like these gooks and all that, get these corner stores, these Ishmaelites or whatever, or Ammonites, Elamites, get these corner stores, and you think they're cool, and they're not cool. None of these nations are cool, man. All right? But when we tell our people that, look, these nations deserve to go in chains, they look at us like we're crazy. But again, this shows the level of hate. This was all about hate. And we saw a nigga and figured he could blow him off the earth, take him off the earth, and he get off scot-free because he thought he stole something. All right, so we thought he had a free kill, but they arrested him and all of that, and he's probably about to go to prison because Esau don't give a fuck about you other nations either. Not only do he don't give a fuck about us, he don't give a fuck about you gooks or you other nations either. All right, so he's probably going to jail, and then he's probably gonna get his ass beat because the community's pretty angry about that shit. And that could also stir up Jake, because they said Jake when it was was tearing up the corner store, the gook, his corner store or whatever, rioting or whatever. So that could lead to some unrest in that South Carolina area. But who knows? All right, but let's get Job chapter 4 and verse 7 first. For the pull up. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 7. Because again, that young man, he wasn't innocent, man. All right, he was of age. He had dreadlocks. He's under the law. All right. So was he innocent? No, he wasn't innocent. All right. Again, I don't know him, but the way these young jakes are, they're animals, man. And again, he's probably running around the neighborhood and doing all type of crazy shit all the time, doing drugs, So he wasn't innocent. This is Job chapter 4 verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where was the righteous cut off? Right. So the Lord said, whoever perished being innocent. All right. So that young man was guilty of something. For one, dreadlocks. All right. He was going off having dreadlocks. And who else knows what kind of other, stuff he was doing. All right. But he wasn't innocent. He got put to death for a reason. The Most High is not unrighteous. Well, the Most High don't put you to death or do something to you. Scripture say the wages of sin is death. So the price you pay for committing iniquity or sin is death. So he wasn't innocent. All right. Now in certain cases, the righteous is taken away from the wrath to come. But he wasn't in the truth. That the young man, he wasn't in the truth. All right. He probably walked by the prophets and mocked the prophets. I think he was in South Carolina. We got an elder in South Carolina. He might have walked by the elder and said some slick shit. But who knows? And the Most High got him. All right. So he wasn't innocent. All right. But again, it shows the level of hate that these nations have for us, man. The extreme level of hate. All right. Let's get Psalms 83. This is Psalms chapter 83. Scriptures tell us who our enemy is, man, and who to look out for, But again, the majority of our people still love the so-called white man in these other nations. This is Psalm chapter 83, verse 1. Keep now silent, O Yahweh. A psalm of Asaph, our forefather Asaph. Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies, the key word, our enemy, make a turmoil, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and have consulted together against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. Right? So all these nations, hate us, man. Hate our guts. That was that Goop's idea. We cut this guy out, cut this dude off. Because it's the spirit of hate. All these nations have that spirit of hatred for us. All of them. Just the white man's at the top of the list. But all these nations have that spirit of hate for the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians. All right? Which are the Israelites. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against the tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, the Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, of Moab, and the Hagarenes. Right, Moab. Again, he's either Moab, the Asian persuasion, he's either Moab or Ammon. Gabal and Ammon, Salakia, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also was joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot. Right, so the Hamites, Moab, Amalek, so-called Jews, Philistine, Hamites, Tyre, and the other Hamite nations, they're all against us. All right. Do unto verse 9, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Caesar, as Jabin at the brook of Kishon. What did the Lord do to them? He destroyed them. All right. So that's what the Lord's going to do to these other nations. He's going to destroy them. All right. He's going to obliterate them. He's going to put them in slavery under us. Not obliterate them, because they're all going to be slaves. But they're all get rid of them forever. But they're all going to be our slaves. All right. Just again, the so-called white man is at the top of the list. This is Jeremiah chapter 30. Chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore all they that devour thee should be devoured, and all thy adversaries, right? Because all these nations had, you know, had their way with us at one point or another. We've been under captivity under all these nations. All right, at least once. And all thy adversaries, every one of them should go into captivity, and they that spoil thee should be a spoil, and they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Right, and all these nations prey upon us. All right, they don't give a fuck about us. If they're not giving, we're not like Moab and Ishmael, you know, or Salakia or Elam. If you ain't giving them no money, matter of fact, yeah, let's get that the parable of Lazarus. If you can't pay them or give them some money, they don't give two shits about you, man. Go into a store and tell them, you know, hey, I'm kind of short. I don't have a lot of money. With my kid, with like a bag of chips. How many you think they give you that bag of chips? They tell you no to get out the store. Come back when you got some money. The only time they're cool was when you got some money. This is St. Luke chapter 16, verse 19. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and this rich man is a so-called white man. All right, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus. With this parable, the rich man is a so-called white man. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, which Lazarus represents us, the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians, and desired to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked the sores, right? The dogs of the other nations. All right. They set up convenience stores and weave stores, all these different stores to make money off you. All right, they don't care about you. They just want to make money. Liquor stores, they just want to make money. They could give two shits about you, man. All right, they take the money and go back to their neighborhoods and go back to their people. They don't put it back into the neighborhoods, just neighborhoods you live in. All right. Moreover, the dogs came and licked the sores, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angel into Abraham's bosom. And the rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being tormented and seeing Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom, which hell is going to be slavery for you devils. Verse 24, so-called white man. And he cried and said, and you other nations too. For that first 1,000-year period, you're going to be catching hell too. Just not as bad as the white man. And said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in the water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in flames. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now is he comforted, and thou art tormented. And that goes for the white man's first and foremost, all right, and you other nations as well. Because we receive evil things, catching hell. Scripture say, we got to go to our enemy for the want of all things and the curses. We got to go for resource, for food, water, clothes, to people that hate us. They hate our guts. Sworn enemies with these nations. All right, and we got to go to you because the Lord, because of the curses. All right, so we got to go to you for the want of all things, and you hate us. And and we just straight up catch hell here, man. Straight up, evil things, bad things. All right, last hired, first fired. We're in terrible shape here. But again, the Lord is going to reverse that. The Lord said that we're going to be comforted in the kingdom, and you're going to be in torment. Again, started with the so-called white man. All right. Since I mentioned that, let's get that. Just Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore thou shalt serve thy, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger. Right, like that 14-year-old young man, he had to go to his enemy's store to buy some food, and he didn't even steal nothing. He didn't even take nothing. The gook just thought he took something, and he just shot him in the back. But again, no man perish being innocent. Sin against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. So whatever we want, we got to go to the other nations to get it, because they're in power right now, starting with the white man. They have the stores. They have these things, all right, that we corner stores and supermarkets and liquor stores and things like that. The nigger woman with her weave. You gotta you gotta go the to the enemy for those things. People that hate you, all right. And he should put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee, which the white man did that, and we've been destroyed as a nation. But the Lord is raising us up. The Lord is raising us back up. And all you devils, all you so-called white people and you other nations, you're gonna get it in the worst way. All right. Again, starting with the so-called white man. All right. Let's get I'm gonna close with Ezekiel. That is Ezekiel 25. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 25, verse 8. Because you're hand in hand. The so-called white man and Moab and all these nations are hand in hand. Like I said in Psalms 83, they consulted together. They consulted together with one consent. Like what they have, what's that? I think it's the United Nations they have. When these nations come together, which is supposed to all be enemies, but they all come together. And you better believe every policy or whatever they put in place at the end of the day is to destroy Israel. All right. This is Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 8. Thus ain't the Lord Yahweh, because Moab, which is, again, I'm for face value, I'm guessing he's he's from the Asian persuasion. He's from one of them. And Moab, Ammon, whatever nation, it don't matter. You're all going into slavery anyway. And Seir, which Seir is who? The so-called white man, do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto all the heathen. Right? So the house of Judah is unto like all the heathen. All right? Let me jump down. It says, I keep reading. The point is in verse 11. Therefore, behold, I will open the side of Moab from his city which are on his frontiers, and the glory of the country of Beth Jemoth, Salakia, and Baal Melon, and Ker Athaim unto the men of the east with the Amorites, and I will give them in the possession, that the Amorites may not be remembered among the nations. All right, so the Lord's gonna cut you motherfuckers off, man. All you nations, man. But right now, Esau and Ammon, for me, or Moab is running a tight race, and probably the Arabs. All you're gonna get it, man. Verse 11. But I will execute is the point. I will execute judgment upon Moab, and they should know that I am the Lord. Right, the Lord says He's gonna execute judgment upon you Moabites, man. Verse 12. Let me read verse 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because Edom have dealt, and again, the so-called white man and Moab is hand in hand. All right. They're buddy. So you're going to go down with your buddy in the worst way. And have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, where the Lord destroying America. And I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. Right? They shall fall by the sword. Verse 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and you other nations too, and they should do it in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they should know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh. Right, and they should know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh. Right, so again, all you nations are going to get it in the worst way, man, in the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be paradise for the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native and Seminole Indians, an eternal paradise, and straight up and down hell for you other nations. Again, starting with the so-called white man. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rekakwadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and safety to you brothers that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.